Welcome back to MTG Burgeoning, your channel for all things magic. Today, we are going to add the next 20 creature cards with converted mana costs of 4 to our Momir Vig Cube. What's up, MTGBC? You know who you are. That is the MTG Burgeoning community. Welcome back to another installment of our Momir Vig Cube series. If you are unfamiliar with the purpose of this series, or you just need a refresher, search in the description below for the link to MTG Burgeoning's introduction to the Momir Vig Cube. Additionally, in that same description below, you can click on the link to Cube Cobra and view the entire contents of the cube as it stands right now. We've got 20 more creature cards, this time with a converted mana cost of 4, and we're going to start things off with Helana Kessig Ranger. We got a mono green human archer 3/4 with reach, meaning it's going to block them flyers. And you got to make sure you got to understand the evasion in the Momir Vig Cube is what's going to win it all. So anything that can block evasion like flying, it could be highly coveted. Additionally, specific to Helana, whenever another creature enters the battlefield under our control, we may pay 2 mana, and when we do that, that creature deals damage equal to its power to target creature. This is not a fight mechanic. We won't lose the creature to it being fought. This is just straight direct damage, and in a format that's dominated by creatures, there are no instants or sorceries, so the removal is lacking. Any creatures with built-in removal could be the creature that really tips the scales of favor into our game plan. Next creature up, we have Hellrider. Mono red 3/3 devil with haste. Whenever a creature we control attacks, Hellrider deals 1 damage to defending player. We can just sit back and keep Hellrider untapped for the entirety of the game, sending Chumpy after Chumpy into combat, as long as we have some on the defensive side, and Hellrider's going to get through with a point of direct damage to that player's face each and every time. Creature number 3 is our first colorless edition, and it is Hematite Golem. It is 1/4. However, if we pay 1 in a red mana, it gets +2/+0 until end of turn. So make sure you've got those mountains in that basic land deck. Our first mono blue creature of this video is Herald of Secret Streams. It's a 2/3 Merfolk Warrior. Creatures we control with +1/+1 counters on them cannot be blocked. There is a pretty strong +1/+1 counter theme woven into this cube, and if you've got any part of that with Herald of Secret Streams in play, you will most likely be victorious in that game. Reaching the 1/4 mark of this video, we have Hero of Bladehold, a 3/4 human knight with the battle cry mechanic. Whenever it attacks, each other attacking creature gets +1/+0 until end of turn. As an additional attack trigger, Hero of Bladehold will create 2 1/1 white soldier creature tokens tapped and attacking whenever it attacks. In a format where combat is everything, Hero of Bladehold brings that in spades. Temporary power boost when it attacks and giving that power boost to other attacking creatures, and also creating additional creatures to help with combat as well. We have prioritized often. Any creatures that can create creatures are very, very valuable in a format like Momir Vig. Another mono-white edition, we have High Sentinels of Arashen. It's a 3/4 flyer for 4 mana. That in and of itself is a very good investment in a Momir Vig Cube, because like I said earlier, the evasion is key. However, this gets a +1/+1 for each other creature we control with a +1/+1 counter on it. As a built-in way to make itself even bigger, we can pay 3 in a white mana to put a +1/+1 counter on target creature. So this paired with Herald of Secret Streams, that seems like it's just going to be a game-ending combination if you're fortunate enough to summon randomly token copies of each creature. Next up, another mono green edition, we have Immaculate Magistrate. 2/2 tap. We put a +1/+1 counter on target creature for each elf we control. Minimally, because Immaculate Magistrate is an elf, minimally we'll put 1/+1/+1 counter on a target creature. This can be used for all kinds of combat shenanigans, political machinations. Immaculate Magistrate is sneaky great addition, and again, only helping to solidify the +1/+1 counter theme that we've seen already highlighted in this video. Next up, in another mono white edition, we have Imperial Aerosaur, a 3/3 flyer that when it ETBs, another target creature we control gets +1/+1 and gains flying until end of turn. So if we've got a nice little creature that's just sitting back but too afraid to attack because it knows it's going to get traded down, we'll give that bad boy a nice temporary power toughness boost with some temporary evasion and send it on its happy ways, making one of our opponents lose some life. All right, back to another mono red and another devil. We have Impetuous Devils. It's a 6/1 trample and haste. When it attacks, up to one target creature defending player controls blocks it if able. And at the beginning of our end step, we have to sacrifice Impetuous Devils. This could be a great way to get rid of a creature that may be causing a lot of other problems or troubles on the battlefield. Think about some creatures that may have some highly potent activated or triggered abilities and aren't even participating in combat but are causing all kinds of problems for us. Well, we get Impetuous Devils on the battlefield, and if that bad boy is untapped, that creature is going to block it, and that creature most likely is heading to the yard. Creature number 10, as we hit the halfway point of this video and another colorless edition, we have Iron League Steed. It is a 2/2 with haste, and it has the Fabricate mechanic. This time it's Fabricate 1. We get two options here when this ETBs. We can put a +1/+1 counter on it, or we can create a 1/1 colorless servo artifact creature token. For more purposes than not, we will most likely select to have the 1/1 creature, because a lot of times having more creatures on the battlefield under our control will allow us to outnumber our opponents and just win via numbers. All right, our next creature, creature number 11, and another mono white edition, we have Jazal Goldmane, 4/4 first strike, and look at that activated ability, 3 and double white. Oh, you better pack the plains in your basic land deck, because that activated ability is game ending. It reads, attacking creatures you control get +X/+X until end of turn, where X is the number of attacking creatures. Imagine swinging in with this. +4/+4, you got 4 creatures heading into combat. Jazal by itself is an 8/8. You will most likely force an opponent to completely chump block your entire army, and if that happens, that opponent only has a matter of turns before they're shuffling their next deck. All right, creature number 12, we have another colorless edition. We have Juggernaut. It's a 5/3. It attacks each turn if able, and it can't be blocked by walls. Juggernaut is old school, folks. 5/3. It attacks each turn if able, cannot be blocked by walls. Back-to-back colorless editions here. Now we have Junk Golem. It is an artifact creature golem, and it ETBs with 3 +1/+1 counters. At the beginning of our upkeep, we have to sacrifice it unless we remove a +1/+1 counter from it. We can pay one to discard we can pay one to discard a card from our hand, which will be a land card because the only cards in our hand are lands. And when we do that, we can put a +1/+1 counter on Junk Golem. You may just get to the point where this golem is just too junky for you and just end up letting it die regardless of what you do, because to pay a mana and discard a land may seem too rich for just putting a +1/+1 counter on it. However, with the +1/+1 synergies we have up there that we've already seen just in this video, maybe it would be worth it. That's going to be up to you. All right, our next creature, our first multicolored edition, we have Calamity, Disciple of Iroas. 3/3, double strike with vigilance. Whoa, just stop right there. A 3/3 double strike with vigilance for just the investment of 4. That seems like it's going to be enough right there. However, zoom. Whenever we cast a creature spell with converted mana cost 5 or greater, we're going to get an experience counter. So if we continue to summon creatures through the Momir Vig Cube via our Momir Vig SIMIC Visionary Avatar, 5, 6, 7, 8, we're going to be getting those experience counters. And when we do, Kalemne, Disciple of Iroas, will get +1/+1 for each experience counter we have. This falls into play perfectly on curve. We're lucky enough to summon this on turn 4. Turn 5, we cast one, we get an experience counter. Now Kalemne is 4/4 with double strike and vigilance. We can keep her untapped throughout the entirety of a round of turns because of vigilance, making her a defensive threat and an offensive juggernaut. Kalemne may be one of the most valuable 4-drops in the Momir Vig Cube. All right, hitting the 3/4 mark of this video, we have our very first mono black edition, and that is going to be King Makar the Gold Cursed. 2/3 with the inspired mechanic. When King Makar becomes untapped, we may exile target creature. If we do, put a colorless artifact token named Gold onto the battlefield. It has sacrifice this artifact, add 1 mana of any color to your mana pool. We know that to be treasure this day and age. King Makar in this format, extraordinarily powerful if we can send it into combat safely, because we need to untap with King Makar in order to exile any creature on the battlefield and get that gold artifact, which will allow us to summon a creature from the Momir Vig Cube ahead of curve, making our creature more powerful while eliminating one of our opponents. All right, creature number 16, another mono red edition. We have Kurd Chieftain. It's a 3/3 ape. It's going to get +1/+1 if we control a forest, and we can pay 4 and a green to give target creature +2/+2 and trample until end of turn. Make sure you've got forests in that basic land deck. Next up, we're back to mono white, and we have Kithkin Rabble. It has vigilance, but its power and toughness are each equal to the number of white permanents we control. So its floor is a 1/1 with vigilance for the investment of 4 mana. Because creatures are randomly summoned from the Momir Vig Cube, you really have no idea how many creatures are going to have white. And if you get this one with the investment of 4 and you only have this as a white permanent, that's going to be a feel-bad moment. However, as we have stressed multiple times throughout this Momir Vig Cube series, not every creature is going to be uber helpful or uber powerful. Sticking with mono white as we move closer and closer to the end of this video, creature number 18 is Kithian's Irregulars. We have a 4/3 with the Renown mechanic. And that means that whenever this creature deals combat damage to a player, if it isn't renowned, we put a +1/+1 counter on it, and it becomes renowned. However, all this creature needs to do is to get the +1/+1 counter on it to become renowned. That doesn't give us any additional abilities, because once we get the +1/+1 counter on it, the renowned pretty much just disappears. We can pay 2 white to tap target creature. Now, investing 2 white mana for the defensive or offensive purposes of tapping creatures, well, you got to make sure you got those planes in the basic land deck. All right, creature number 19 is another mono red edition, and we have Lava-Born Muse, a 3/3 at the beginning of each opponent's upkeep. If that player has 2 or fewer cards in hand, Lava-Born Muse will deal 3 damage to that player. Now, just keep that in mind. This is going to be a numbers game. We begin each game of Momir Vig with 7 cards in our hand. Those are all lands, of course. Each turn, we draw a card. You play a land because you want to summon creatures from the Momir Vig Cube. Each time you summon a creature, you must discard a land from your hand, or you must discard a card from your hand, which is going to be a land. So for Lava-Born Muse to come down on turn 4, it's very likely that she may be dealing that 3 points of damage to those players during their upkeep. All they have to have is 2 or fewer cards, so that could be a very sneaky good card to get in this Momir Vig Cube. And creature number 20, why not one more mono white edition? We have Leonin War Leader, a 4/4 that whenever it attacks, we create 2 1/1 white cat creature tokens with lifelink that are tapped and attacking. This creature is so powerful in this format because, again, this is a format driven by creatures, driven by combat. Any creatures that can create additional creatures in addition to having lifelink, which just makes the swing on life points that much bigger, particularly when everyone's only starting with 24 life. Leonin War Leader could be one of those creatures that comes down and just slams every other opponent right off of the table. And there you have it, MTGBC. 20 more cards into that Momir Vig Cube. Let me know which are your favorites in the comment section below. This is MTG Burgeoning, your channel for all things magic.